What's going on, guys? Jeff back here. Got another update for you guys on Project Zailas. As you can see there, got some pretty cool stuff to show you already, but if you've been keeping up with my last update videos, you'll know that I've been revealing pieces of my new wide body kit that I've been developing over the course of the last 2.5 years, going on 3 years now. So it's been a long process, but we're nearing the finish line now. I'm very excited to be finally revealing some of these pieces for you guys to see. And I'm going to show you what I'm working on currently and the last few little steps that we have to take to get this car done. As you can see behind me, we have the new front bumper that I've designed for the car. This is a completely original bumper. It is a mid-length type of bumper, so there's really 3 types of different bumpers that you see traditionally on the Z33. You got the real short stubby nose type of bumpers, something like the OEM bumpers, which are real short. Then you have the mid-length bumpers. These are like the Nismo bumpers, or like the N3R, Aztec. Sometimes you'll hear them called Aztec bumpers, will be considered like a mid-length bumper. Then you have the really long nose bumpers, which are more like Sunline or Voltex. Those companies make bumpers that are quite a bit longer than the OEM or the mid-length ones, and I was never a fan of the long nose bumpers. Some of the shorter designs are cooler, but the mid-length is where it's at for me. So obviously I designed my new original bumper with a mid-length type of a design in mind. So there it is on the car. I just got it put on. It's not bolted up, so if you see any gaps or anything, you know, that's just because it's not fully bolted just yet. There's still a few little things that I have to do to fine-tune it. But if you want a closer look at this bumper, look at my previous video that I uploaded about a month ago, where I specifically highlighted this new bumper, and you'll see all the designs from the different angles and a little bit of the mind that went into the design process of this bumper. I must say, having just finally putting it on the car, just yesterday in fact, I was so pleased with the way it looked, the way it turned out. I can't wait to get everything cinched together and bolted up and get the car on the ground. It's actually up on jack stands right now, so it looks like it's hovering off the ground right now, but once we get the car back down on the ground and get the wheels filling up the arches and everything properly, it's going to look even better. But as it sits right now, I couldn't be happier. But in this video, like I said, I'm going to show you what I just finished up and what we're going to be doing next. So we're actually going to be heading to the back of the car, where I can show you guys the all-new wing setup that I just put together. I just finished up about a week ago. Very happy with it, so let's go take a look. Okay, so as we head into the garage here, you'll get a little closer look at the front bumper as it is mounted on the car. Now I have essentially the entire kit minus the rear bumper affixed to the car at this point. Again, nothing is bolted, so you're going to see a lot of gappage and stuff like that. And that's because I am still tweaking fitment and things like that here and there, so don't mind that. But you really get a good look at how this whole kit is going to look like as we move back here. Here's our front fender, and again, if you guys haven't seen this stuff before, I have videos on each one of these pieces, on the front fenders, the side skirt, and the rear fenders in the back. I've got individual videos on this channel that I've already uploaded showing more of those pieces in depth, but here we are for the first time. You guys are seeing all of the pieces kind of fitting together. Again, not bolted, but they're on the car, so you get a gist of what this kit, how extreme this kit is going to look for this car. I also have my little roof spoiler up there, which I also showed in a previous video. But yeah, here are the pieces together on the car. Don't mind how ugly this looks right now. Again, it's on jack stands, and I haven't washed the car in almost 3 years, so it's dirty. But yeah, this is the new Z33 Excelsior kit in base form. Now there is accessory pieces and whatnot like this that I showed also previously, which is going to fit something like this. You know, there's this kind of stuff like all over the kit. There's little Easter eggs and stuff, little surprises that I've built right into the design of the kit, but it just looks insane. Like, this thing has really come together. I say it all the time, but I could not be happier with the turnout on this thing. It's going to divide some people. It's going to be too extreme for some people, and I totally get that. Extreme was the goal with this, and I believe that I was able to nail the extreme factor. So now taking a look at the wing section, I had showed you guys just briefly that I had started work on this in the bumper video, in the last one. I came back here and showed you the work in progress on the new ducktail setup. And here it is in finished form. So I haven't updated you guys in quite a little while. That's because I've been out here busting it out trying to get this thing done and perfected, and you know, it may not look like it may look like a pretty simple deal, but this was a very, very complicated thing to do, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But let's just take a look at it. It is a Mercury GT Z Project wing, ducktail wing base, which I had mentioned last time. So last time we had the Rocket Bunny wing on here prior. It was a polyurethane. It's actually sitting right back there against the wall. That's my old ducktail wing that I was running for a long time. Made this switch over to the Mercury wing, and I'm so glad I did, because I just love it so much more. I love how it flows. You can see from the side here, you can see just how well it flows with the Race Factory wing stands, GT wing stands. So it looks great. Really, really glad of the differences between this one and the Rocket Bunny. Still like the Rocket Bunny wing, don't get me wrong, but for my purposes, for this car, the Mercury wing was just a much, much better choice. I really think that it just flows so well with everything else that I've done. Like if you look at the car from this angle right here, the rear quarter panel and everything, and you see just kind of how it flows like that, I think it just, the angle of it and everything just works so well. Even with my new roof spoiler there, I think it just plays very beautifully. It transforms the entire rear end of this car, really. I mean, you might even have to take a double look at this to make sure it's a Z33 from certain angles at this point. So in good fashion, in my typical fashion, I never leave anything base, I never leave anything stock. It's always got to be modified, and such was definitely the case with this Mercury ducktail. I did not just want to put this thing on and then just call it a day. It had to be modified in some way, in some shape or form. So as you can see there, it's been completely cut out in the center. I actually had this wing cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 individual pieces at one point in time, and I completely rebuilt the entire center section of this wing. It's all original. In fact, you can see sitting right there is the original center of this wing. I cut it out all together, did not reuse it. I built an all original new centerpiece that is actually sunk down. So instead of it coming all the way across like this, I went ahead and decided to cut this out and lower it and create a built-in, this actually, you may not be able to see it very well on the footage here, but it actually comes out a little bit more than it would in the standard form. So this kind of comes out a little bit, and if you notice here, if you look very carefully, I left a flat top edge so that I could put a gurney flap and put something else to kind of come out. Again, everything that I'm building to put accessory pieces or whatever, make the entire kit very modular, add things to it just to spice it up. Totally optional, but everything that I build, I like to keep my options open. But I thought this was a great redesign on the wing. One of the primary reasons why I chose to do this is because the Mercury wing, while I like it so much and it fits the stand so well, it comes up so much higher than the Rocket Bunny wing. The Rocket Bunny wing kind of fit more something like out to here. It came out to kind of here instead of up here like that. So the Mercury wing comes up so high that the gap between the GT wing foil and the ducktail was like really small. It was like, if you imagine the wing went all the way across, there was like really only about 4 inches of airspace where air could flow through there. And I thought that was just a little bit too small. So I thought, you know what? Let me just cut the center section out and create a larger gap, something similar to the Rocket Bunny kind of shape in the center, like that. And that will allow more air to flow through here. And then I went ahead and took the opportunity to create some really nice shaping and designs in through here. So it's all very angular, very nice. And yeah, it looks awesome. I think it looks great. It's gotten great reception. I've kind of showed it on Instagram a little bit here and there, and people are liking it. It'll really come alive once it's painted and everything. Right now it's just a very raw primer, so it's very patchy looking and all that, but the details will really come out real nice and clean and sharp once it's painted. Now obviously it was built to integrate directly with the GT wing here from Race Factory. I wanted to maintain that. That's actually become kind of a staple look for my car, is the ducktail GT wing combo. It's very rare. You do not see that on a lot of these cars. There's only a handful that I'm aware of that are even running a double wing setup like that. So Definitely wanted to maintain that, but I think it's such a step up from what I had before. One of the massive changes between how I was doing it before and now is, of course, we are now molded. So this is a fully molded ducktail wing. This is not bolted at all or taped like the Rocket Bunny one was. This is all molded perfectly to the trunk, so it's all one piece now. And I went ahead and took the liberty rather of taking this whole piece and stretching it all the way out and blending it seamlessly all the way to this piece right here. So it actually comes out, kind of tapers off right about where the top of the tail light hits right there. So no longer a bolt-on, tape-on affair with the ducktail. It's all now a full mold, which is great. But this is also why I was saying this was such a difficult process, because if you want to mold the ducktail and still run the GT wing, it opened up a whole host of issues. So when I started the process, I realized very quickly that molding the wing was actually going to block off the wing stands where the wing actually bolts to the trunk lid of the car. And I definitely did not want that. I did not want to lock the GT wing to the trunk and not be able to get that thing off. It was something where I wanted to be able to fully remove the GT wing if I wanted to. So that necessitated where I actually had to modify the wing completely. I had to cut out these whole entire sections down here where the wing stands are bolted to the trunk lid, and I had to actually build all of this inside. I had to build all that, and I had to seal each one of these pieces right here. I had to seal them so that water and moisture could not get in as it flows down on the sides of the wing stands there. So obviously when you mold, you got to sand all the way down to the metal so you can do a good bond when you're bonding your fiberglass piece or whatever you're doing. And so by exposing all that metal under there, you run a serious risk of moisture getting into any seams or anything like that. So it was a massive undertaking for me to actually modify each one of the pieces of this wing and seal each one of them and make sure everything was completely watertight and no moisture was going to hit any of that exposed metal. Because the last thing you want is a year down the line or whatever, you know, your trunk lid to start rusting out from the inside out, and it would just become a huge nightmare. Everything's going to start flaking off. So I wanted to make sure I avoided that. So I did everything correctly. I did everything the right way. I took my time with it, which is why this video is coming a month after the last one, because I really wanted to take my time and make sure I wasn't cutting any corners. I wasn't doing anything sloppily where it was just going to become a nightmare, you know, 6 months to a year down the road. Wanted to make sure everything was nice and sealed and clean and done right, and it was just a lot of work. But the result is something that's going to last for a long time. I'm glad that I did it the way I did it. Everything is sealed very nicely, and I can still remove the GT wing. I can just unbolt here, down here, unbolt the bolts up from the top section, and I can actually completely remove the GT wing if I want to and just run the ducktail look. And of course there are seams that are going to be left over, but they're actually sealed and everything, so it actually looks quite good. Check out my Instagram account because I have a post of what it looks like without the GT wing, so you guys can see. If I want to run it like that, then I totally have the option to do that, which is awesome. And if I don't want to show the seams, if they bug me that much, which they really don't, but if they did, for some reason I wanted to cover them, I can just develop some real simple cover, something that I can just tape over the seams that'll integrate into the design of the wing itself, and you won't even have seams. So I'm very, very happy with the way this new wing setup turned out. Again, took a lot of work to do it right. You know, I added a whole bunch of work by deciding to go ahead and do the mold as opposed to just bolting it, which I could have done, but I think that with how crazy this car is at this point already, you know, I'm just going to go all out, all the way, you know, mold the wing, basically create a whole new trunk lid with that setup right there, and it just looked so great with the roof spoiler as well. I thought, you know what, we're already come this far, let's just mold it. You know, so one thing is that I'm getting a lot of people that are now DMing me and they're asking, is the wing, because it's molded, of course, is the wing going to be a part of the kit when I produce this kit for sale? And well, I want to say yes, because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to 3D scan the whole kit, including the wing, and While you can't remove the wing at this point, we'll still be able to 3D scan it, and then we'll go ahead and 3D scan a OEM hatch with nothing on it. So we have the factory, body lines, and then we'll go ahead and put it all together in the computer, 3D CAD, and then we can just pop that into the 3D printer and start producing these wings. I know that that's the way that a lot of guys reproduce parts that are molded to the body and stuff like that you can't remove. So yes, despite the fact that it is molded, I do believe that we are going to be able to include this ducktail in the kit for production. And one last note about this setup right here, the actual foil of the GT wing is going to be replaced shortly. Ray's factory, Rainier, the guy who makes these particular wings, some of my favorite on the market, by the way. Rainier, if you happen to see this video, I absolutely love your wings, my friend. He is actually preparing to launch the next generation of this wing foil, and it is going to be absolutely insane. It's absolutely perfect for this new build, this new version of my car. So this is a 1750 millimeter wing. That's how wide it is, and the new one's going to be 1800, so it's going to be actually 2 inches wider, 1 inch wider on both sides, so 2 inch wider total. So that's going to be just perfect because we're super wide on our fenders there, and that extra 1 inch is going to just bring it out so that it's going to be absolutely perfect with the extra width there for the kit. As I come over to this side, you can see just that extra inch is going to be absolutely mint. Little sneak peek at our rear bumper right there, by the way. I haven't done a actual video for our rear bumper, but there it is. That's what it looks like. I'm still doing a couple things to it, and then I will make a full video all about just the rear bumper itself, but that is what our rear bumper is looking like, by the way. But back to the wing, he's going to be releasing the new 1800 carbon fiber, by the way, new design and everything foil for his GT wing. The best part about it is that I can reuse my existing wing stands. So it is completely compatible with the new foil, and I don't have to change those at all. So all this work I just did is no problem. It'll swap right over to the new 1800 millimeter wing, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. So look forward to that. This whole one is going to be retired. I may end up selling it. Still a great foil. It's got a few little stress cracks here and there. It's been on the car for 3 years now, so natural wear and tear, but I will have it up for sale. I might even recondition it a little bit before it goes out, but if anybody is looking for a really nice GT wing foil, I'll have one up for sale pretty soon. And we may be doing some new custom end plates as well. I don't know, I still like those ones, but we may be updating our end plates for the new foil setup as well. I'm very excited about that. Okay, so that is about it for what the primary stuff I wanted to show you in this video. Again, there's the rear bumper. You'll be getting a video on that pretty soon. But yeah, here's all the pieces in unison, I'll say. A lot of gappage, and it looks very ugly, so I don't like to show it like this. I never intended on showing it like this, but you know what? I'm not hiding any secrets anymore. I'm not keeping anything. I just want you guys to be able to enjoy the process with me. So this is what we're looking like. We're so close to the finish line. I'm so excited. So what's next, right? What do I have left to do? It looks almost complete, but this is what we have left to do, the hood. This is my last thing, and well, I say the last thing, but I actually just contacted a buddy of mine about possibly making a new roof design as well. So I might end up getting into a new roof design as well. But to finish the kit, I at least have to get my new hood done, and that's going to be the next big thing. I'm going to finish up all the stuff on my rear bumper first and get that video out for you guys. But as soon as that's done, I'm moving directly into the hood. Now you can see this tape line that I've already taped. This is the HR hump here. Those of you guys who have the HRs, you know you've got the hump hood from 2007, 2008 when they switched over from the DE over to the HR model on these cars. They added that little hump there in the middle. That is to accommodate the extra whatever they have going on under the hood there. They needed a little extra clearance, so they added the hump there. Well, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up cutting right where the tape is, or very close there to it, and I'm going to end up pushing this hump down as much as I can. Now I may not get very much clearance out of it because it needs this extra clearance, so I may only get a tiny little bit, you know, maybe an inch, maybe ½ inch of clearance there, but I'm going to push it down, make as much room as I can, and actually create a vented hood where it slopes down like that. And then I'm going to build up a little bit of extra, little something in this area, so it will spice it up a little bit. Now if you look at this section here of the front bumper, you can see how we have that almost kind of an embossed look to it, where this raised area actually comes up, and it's actually raised here. That was by design, so I can actually follow this body line and come all the way up the hood right along the side of the vents there. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to follow this kind of embossed raised line, and I'm going to bring it all the way up so that right along the sides of the vents, this is all going to be raised as opposed to flat. So right now it's perfectly flat, there's no detailing coming up. I'm actually going to create ridges along the side, also along this section right here, and on this side as well. It's all going to be raised up. Something similar to how you see the venting. See how I did this here on the fender? Same deal. We're going to be adding to the sides of the vents right there, and whatever else I decide to do. But that's my next big thing. I'm going to try and get that out as quickly as I can. I'm really out of time with this car. It's got to get done this year, really before June. So I got to blitz this, but again, I'm not going to rush through it. I'm going to take my time if I need to, so that it's done right. I don't want anything on this car sloppy. I've already spent enough time on it and enough blood, sweat, and tears that I'm not going to compromise any of the work that I've done just to get the thing out. You know, I'm going to make sure it's all done right and done well, so that it all comes together in the end. Alright guys, so there's your update on Project Zailas Excelsior. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We are so close to the finish line on this thing, guys. I'm really shooting for, within the next few months, having this thing ready for paint. Now of course, like I said, we got to do the whole 3D scan, 3D print ordeal. I don't honestly know how long that's going to take. I know that these are very sizable pieces, and obviously the bigger the piece, the longer the process is going to be. They have to be scanned, they have to be put through the computer. Whatever CAD work has to be done on them to make them printer compatible, then they have to go to the printer. Then the printing process, of course, is super long. So, you know, I'd like to have this thing done within a few months here, but it's really anybody's guess at this point. But at any case, we're close. We're closer than we've ever been, obviously. So I just want to say thank you to so many of you guys who are supporting me. Those of you who've been rooting me on through this whole process, which is admittedly very few of you, because I've been very secretive about this process over the last 2 years. But now, as it's coming more into the light and I'm starting to reveal it more on social media and YouTube, obviously, I'm getting so much support from you guys, and I thank you so very much. It means the world to me. You know, it's those moments when I feel like quitting or feel like slowing down, and then I go online and I get a comment or a message from somebody saying, hey, you're doing an awesome job, keep going, can't wait to see it done. You know, that's what makes all the difference for me, and it makes me get my butt right back out here and back to it. So really, I owe a lot to you guys that it's even where it's at right now. So thank you, and we're almost done. So I'm gonna continue to work hard on it. I'll get the hood done. I'll get an update video for you guys about talking about the rear bumper and the design on that. That was actually the first piece of this entire kit that I finished, was that rear bumper. So, you know, I'm gonna have to even remember some of the design cues that went into making that thing. But that'll be the next video. Is going to be a rear bumper deal, and then we are moving a little bit closer and closer and closer. I'd like to document the process of doing 3D scan work and all that. So that's probably what's going to be coming up here on the channel. So if you're interested at all in what that process looks like, if maybe you're designing your own kit, or maybe not a body kit but something else that could benefit from 3D scan and 3D print, could be worth it to watch those videos coming up. But again, thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace out. God bless you guys.